There was a mother who was going to pick up her son from school. She was a little anxious because the son had been applying for and trying out for a play in the elementary school. And he was not an exceptionally talented young boy. He had a wonderful spirit, a beautiful heart, and she didn't want him to be hurt. So she was a little anxious, and she's waiting outside in the car. And all of a sudden, he comes bounding out, all happy, all excited, and she was wondering what happened. And she said, "How did it go?" And he said, "I got a part in the play." She said, "Oh, wonderful, what is it?" And he said, "I get to stand and clap." And she realized that he was just happy to be part of it. He didn't have to be the star. Reminds me of a quotation from Mary Stesser, who once remarked that, "Blessed the man and woman who is able to serve cheerfully in the second rank, a big test." So much of life is striving, isn't it? I was at the airport recently, and it's amazing to watch how people will run you over to get on the plane maybe one or two people before you, carrying, I think, everything that they own in their 3 or 4 carry-ons. But how unconcerned and unaware they can be because I need to get here now. And I think so much of life is like that. It's striving. It's competing for schools, for jobs, for money, for houses, all the things that everyone is just so intent on all the time, some of which is necessary. But when we step back and look at some of this and put it in perspective, we realize that at the end of our lives, so much of it will be meaningless. So much of what we spend our life pursuing in the end will be meaningless. As the Italians say, at the end of the game, the king and the pawn get put away in the same box. But what really matters in the end? How we loved God and others, how we served, were we kind? Did we extend ourselves in service, especially to the lowly, the poor, the sick, the young, the old? Someone once said, and it sticks with me, you can tell a lot about a person's character by how they treat people who can do nothing for them. I've often remarked that in the end analysis, I'm much more concerned about what the custodian thinks of me than the cardinal. Anyone can curry favor with their superiors. Character is demonstrated by how we treat those who are not seen as our superiors, or often even in the eyes of the world as our equals. How do we treat those that serve us in restaurants? How do we treat those who deliver the newspaper to us? How do we treat people in our daily life? Humility and kindness are attractive. Arrogance is not. The pompous person is not attractive and is not a good witness of Christ. The greatest evangelization we can do isn't necessarily in some great program, but in being kind and gentle and loving. Heasley once said, "The man full of himself can never proclaim the Christ who emptied himself." And how true that is. Jesus comes to us as the foot washer. He emptied himself and became the servant of all. And the example that he gives us is one that he calls us and challenges us to follow in our daily lives. Francis said, "Don't fight for first place, fight for the towel. Be the foot washer. Be the one who serves others." The Eucharist is forever linked to stripping ourselves of our own pride and our own will. As we prepare for Lent, may we open ourselves to the Holy Spirit so that we may become lesser, so that Jesus may become greater in and through our lives.